Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Easy Chat English Podcast. I'm Amelia, and I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Ethan. Today, we have a really fun topic for you, parties. Who doesn't love a good party, right?
Absolutely. Whether it's a small get-together or a big celebration, parties are a great way to have fun and make memories, and we'll be sharing some personal stories about the different kinds of parties we've been to and maybe even a few party disasters.
Yes, we'll also talk about the different types of parties, how to prepare for them, and even party etiquette. And, as always, we'll be introducing some useful English words and expressions for you to learn and use at your next party. So, let's get started. Ethan, what's the most memorable party you've ever been to?
Oh, that's a tough one. But I think one of the most memorable parties for me was a huge New Year's Eve party I went to a few years ago. It was incredible. There were fireworks, a huge dance floor, and everyone was dressed up. The atmosphere was just amazing.
Wow, that sounds incredible. New Year's Eve parties always have such a festive vibe. For me, I think my favorite party has to be my birthday bash last year. I decided to throw a party at home with some close friends, and we made it a themed party. It was all 90s style. Everyone came in their best 90s outfits, and we had music, games, and of course, lots of dancing.
That sounds so fun. A themed party can make things more exciting. I went to a costume party once where everyone had to dress up as their favorite movie character. It was hilarious to see people in all sorts of creative costumes.
There are so many different types of parties. Let's talk about a few. We've already mentioned New Year's Eve parties and themed parties, but there's also house parties, right?
Yeah, house parties are great because they're usually more relaxed. You just invite people over, have some snacks and drinks, and everyone can just mingle and have a good time.
Exactly. I love how casual they can be. But there are also more formal events, like dinner parties. Have you ever been to one of those?
Oh, yes. Dinner parties are a bit more formal, and you usually have a dress code. Nothing too fancy, but you can't show up in jeans. You get to sit down for a nice meal, and usually there's a toast where someone gives a little speech before everyone starts eating.
I've always enjoyed surprise parties. They're so fun, especially seeing the look on the person's face when they walk in and realize everyone's there to celebrate them.
Oh, I've been part of a few of those too. It's so hard to keep the secret sometimes, but when the surprise happens, it's all worth it.
Now, let's talk about what it's like to actually plan a party. Have you ever been in charge of organizing one?
Yes, I have. It can be a lot of work. First, you have to send out invitations, and nowadays most people just use text messages or social media. But for bigger events, you might still RSVP with a formal invite. Then there's the decorations, balloons, streamers, you name it.
Definitely. I remember setting up for my birthday. We had a lot of decorations, balloons of course, and even a photo booth where people could take pictures with funny props. And don't forget about the music playlist. That's super important.
Oh, for sure. The music really sets the tone for the party. And depending on the kind of party, you might have to figure out food too. For some parties, a potluck is perfect because everyone brings a dish to share.
I love potluck parties. It's always interesting to see what everyone brings. And if you're organizing something bigger, you might even hire catering for food. Now, let's move on to party etiquette. It's important to know what's expected at a party, right?
Definitely. For example, if the party has a dress code, make sure you follow it. You don't want to show up underdressed to a formal event or overdressed to a casual party.
True. And when you arrive, it's always good to mingle. Move around and talk to different people. Don't just stay in one corner with the people you already know.
Exactly. It's a great chance to meet new people. And if you're the host, it's polite to give your guests a small party favor, like a little gift or keepsake to thank them for coming.
Another thing is knowing when to leave. At some events, it's actually polite to be fashionably late, but you don't want to overstay your welcome either. So, Ethan, we've talked about planning parties, but once you're actually at the party, what do people usually do? I mean, besides eating all the snacks, of course.
Yes, snacks are always the first thing, right? But once people settle in, I think the main thing is just socializing. You see groups of people talking, catching up, and maybe meeting new friends. Parties are a great way to mingle with different people.
Exactly, and depending on the kind of party, you might also see people on the dance floor. I love when the music comes on and everyone just gets into it. Even if you're not the best dancer, it's always fun to just let loose and enjoy the moment.
Yes, and speaking of letting loose, there's always that one person who tries to start a dance-off. You know, the person who's doing all the crazy moves to try to impress everyone. It's all in good fun, though.
Oh, for sure. And sometimes there are games too. Like at a house party, someone might bring out a board game or start a round of charades. If you haven't played charades before, it's a game where you have to act out words or phrases without speaking, while the other players try to guess what you're acting out. It's a great way to break the ice, especially if not everyone knows each other at the party.
Totally. I've even seen people play karaoke at parties. It's hilarious because you don't have to be good at singing. You just have to be brave enough to grab the microphone.
Right? Karaoke is always a crowd pleaser. And let's not forget the photo booth. It's become super popular at parties now. You grab a bunch of props, take silly pictures, and by the end of the night, you've got a bunch of goofy photos to remember the night by.
Yes. And if it's a birthday or special event, there's usually a moment where people gather around for a toast. The host might give a little speech, raise their glass, and everyone celebrates together. It's a nice tradition.
That's true. Oh, and have you ever noticed how some people love to be the life of the party? They're telling stories, making everyone laugh. They're the ones who keep the energy up all night.
Yeah, every party needs that one person who's always keeping the vibes high. And then, of course, there are the quieter guests who just like to sit back, enjoy the atmosphere, and maybe chat with a few people. There's something for everyone at a party.
Exactly. Some people are on the dance floor, others are catching up in a quiet corner, and then there are those hanging out by the snack table all night. No judgment.
Haha, no judgment at all. At the end of the day, it's all about having fun and enjoying the moment, whether you're the one doing a dance-off or just chilling with friends.
So, the party's over. What's next? How do you usually feel after a big party?
Honestly, I usually just want to crash. Go straight to bed. Parties can be exhausting, especially if you've been dancing all night.
I know what you mean. And if you're the host, there's the not-so-fun part of having to clean up afterward.
Yes, the cleanup is the worst. But I always love looking back at the photos from the night. Those souvenir photos remind you of all the good vibes and fun moments.
Definitely. Even if you're tired, those memories and stories keep the fun going. Well, that's all we have time for today. We've talked about different types of parties, how to plan them, what to expect, and even shared some fun stories from our own experiences. Hopefully, you've learned some new words and expressions to use at your next party.
Yes, and don't forget, whether you're going to a house party, a formal dinner party, or a surprise party, the most important thing is to enjoy yourself and create memories.
Exactly. Thanks for tuning in, and if you have your own party stories, we'd love to hear them. You can share them with us on social media. Until next time, keep celebrating life's moments big and small.
Bye, everyone. See you next time.